Today's dry and windy weather certainly was as advertised. It pushed fires on the eastern plains, created a brownout of horrible visibility at the time of a terrible crash on I-25 south of Pueblo. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Kyle Clark.
I'm Kim Christensen. More on those stories in just a moment. But first, the weather story is shifting to the biggest snow event of the season in Colorado's mountains. They've been waiting for this one. 9 News Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin is joining it. They also have wind, though, Kathy.
They do, and that has really been the big story today on the eastern plains, the wind and the critical fire danger. But in the mountains, some good news. The snow continues to fall, and we could see 1 to 3 feet by Thursday. A handful of preliminary totals, but we expect to see these numbers triple, double, even quadruple over the next couple of days. Now, with the setting sun, the winds have come down in Denver, and so have the temperatures, down to 35 degrees this hour. Winds much lighter in the city, still blowing to 30 on the eastern plains and 63-mile-per-hour gusts over elevated terrain. Red flag warning is canceled for tonight, but reinstated tomorrow, south and east. Same with the high wind warning, canceled tonight. But those driving Pueblo to Trinidad need to be very careful. Similar driving conditions setting up to what we saw earlier today. This full wind forecast is just ahead.
I-25 northbound south of Pueblo is closed tonight. It's been 12 hours since a crash there.
4 people were killed, more than 2 dozen hospitalized after dust and wind together created brownout conditions. 9 News reporter Rachel Krause is here with the latest on that. Rachel.
Yeah, CSP says now total 29 cars and 7 semis were involved. 29 people were taken to the hospital and 1 person is in critical condition.
The way that this went today, I couldn't be any more proud to be part of this team.
Around Pueblo, many in the community are catching their breath hours after jumping into action when a crash turned deadly Tuesday.
The dirt and everything just transversed all the way across I-25 and created just what I'll call as a dirt or a brownout. That visibility was next to nothing.
4 people were killed, 29 others were injured. Ambulances came for some. Pueblo County District 70 sent 2 buses, taking victims to hospitals.
We drill a lot.
Jared Wassow ran incident command at UC Health Parkview. He says emergency department charge nurses got the call about the mass casualty coming in, and everyone jumped into action.
We were already in our decision makers call as our first patient started to arrive. You get the phenomenon of both ambulances mobilizing the most injured patients to the hospitals as quickly as possible, but then you also have the phenomenon of walking wounded. So individuals from the accident who were able to extract themselves but are harmed start showing at the hospitals as well.
For 5 hours, Wassow says they moved quickly, stabilizing patients. More serious injuries first. Hospital staff stepping in to help.
They were able to handle multiple other scenarios at the same time without breaking stride.
Wassow says the drills, the training they run through constantly help them care for so many so quickly.
Today, when the community needed us and needed the other resources in our community, we did what we were supposed to do.
CSP says of the 4 killed in today's crash, 2 men were from Walsenburg, 1 woman was from Pueblo, and another woman was from Rye. Rachel Krause, 9 News.
People ordered to evacuate today because of 2 fires on the eastern plains. They're allowed to return home now.
One of those fires started in Elbert County. The other one was up in Weld. 9 News reporter Janelle Finch is along with what firefighters were up against in today's conditions. Janelle?
Kim, Kyle, Aurora Fire was one of the assisting agencies on that fire in Elbert County. Officials estimate flames grew to between 5,000 and 10,000 acres. The plains were on high alert as strong winds blew across the area. Around noon, the County Road 169 fire sparked up in a rural part of Elbert County and threatened some homes.
Too close.
Tim Anderson says the fire got within 3/4 of a mile to his house. He's lived in Lyman just off Highway 71 for decades.
Definitely. I mean, we raised our daughter here. Yeah, we've had a lot of animals here. So it would have been devastating to lose this house.
Anderson was forced to leave his home around 1:20 p.m.
And we were literally about a mile north watching our house.
Around 5 p.m., the Colorado Division of Fire Prevention and Control said crews stopped the progress of the fire toward Highway 71 and Anderson's home.
They're good friends and they saved our lives today. So, you know, it saved our houses and everything else. So I can't thank them enough.
Do you have an update for me?
People living in Morgan County were thankful for firefighters at work too. A 300 to 400 acre fire just south of Wiggins prompted evacuations.
Just about a mile inside our county.
Morgan County Sheriff Dave Martin says winds picked up to 45 to 55 miles per hour near the fire.
It doesn't take much to drive a vegetation fire like that.
Homeowners could return within an hour after evacuating. Martin says the fire was contained just before 5 p.m.
You know, it's very concerning when we put out a red flag warning. We take that very serious.
The National Weather Service is warning of more enhanced fire danger for tomorrow for some of the eastern plains. Eastern Elbert and Lincoln County will be under a red flag warning. Live in Aurora, Janelle Finch, 9 News.
A teacher caught inappropriately filming students quietly resigned from one school district, then got hired months later in another. Now he's facing 40 felony charges.
Kevin Vaughn from 9 News Investigates set out to answer some questions about why this teacher's resignation from one job was wrapped in secrecy and how he was able to return to the classroom.
This story begins at Erie Middle School.
Lunch is a big time for us.
Begins on a Tuesday in September 2023.
That was a great time to meet the kids.
That day, Tom Baxter, in his 5th year as the school's campus supervisor, walked the cafeteria.
And I heard this table of boys just kind of laughing and acting a little different than they normally do, right? Guys, what is going on? What happened? Well, they started telling me about Mr. Ioannis, and I said, what?
What happened, they said, was that teacher Patricio Ioannis had filmed a student as Ioannis rubbed the boy's bare back.
Did this really happen? And he goes, yes, those things, it's all true.
A St. Vrain Valley School District investigation substantiated the allegations that Ioannis filmed 3 students, though no footage was located that showed any of them shirtless. An Erie police investigation ended without charges, and Ioannis' attorney got a judge to seal the police files.
Just because criminal charges weren't filed at the time certainly doesn't mean that criminal conduct didn't occur.
Attorney Aaron Hogan represents the family of one of the boys who was filmed and was stunned by what happened next. Ioannis resigned, and he and the district agreed to keep their agreement confidential.
Provisions like that are extremely concerning.
The parents of Ioannis' Erie students didn't know any of that, didn't know he got another job in another district at Arvada High until last month, when police arrested him on allegations of filming more than a dozen boys in classrooms, his home, even on the internet. The documents even allege some of those boys were naked and some performed sex acts.
I think the family feels let down, I think betrayed, trusted them to care for the most important person in their life, and they let them down.
The quest for answers to know what happened took us to Ioannis' home. At first, no answer. And then...
Oh, sorry.
Hi, Kevin Vaughn with 9 News.
Oh, hi.
He opened the door.
Will you answer questions about the allegations that you filmed children and sold those videos?
I can't answer anything right now for my attorney. So let me forward you along to him. Is that okay?
That would be all right.
All right, thank you.
We're still waiting. In the meantime...
Hi, this is Kevin Vaughn at 9 News calling with questions about Patricio Ioannis.
We called every school board member in both districts.
If you could call me back, I'd appreciate it.
Only one did, from Jeffco, who forwarded our request to Superintendent Tracy Dorland. Both Dorland and St. Vrain Superintendent Jackie Capuchin declined to talk to us. Instead, both districts issued written statements. Jeffco asserted that an Arvada High administrator checked with Ioannis' St. Vrain supervisor and a human resources director, but heard of no concerns or investigations and got confirmation only of Ioannis' dates of employment. St. Vrain, meanwhile, maintains there is no record anyone from Jeffco called, and if a St. Vrain administrator gave only employment dates, that would be a significant red flag. In the eyes of both Baxter and Hogan, both districts failed.
Where did it fall? Who's responsible that he was allowed to get hired in Jeffco public schools after what he did there?
They essentially allowed or gave him the opportunity to continue harming children.
We should also note that the St. Vrain Valley School District did not report what it knew about Ioannis to the Colorado Department of Education. Because the teacher wasn't charged with a crime, It was not required to do that. However, it had that option, and if that had been done, the Department of Education would have done its own investigation and determined whether that merited putting a flag on Ioannis's teaching license. If that had happened, that flag would have warned all potential future employers that there had been an issue while he was working at Erie Middle School. Reporting in the studio, Kevin Vaughn, 9 News.